Today's Chumash can be found, if you have the Chayenu, on page 25, Shlishi for Tuesday. Moshe is going to designate 3 cities to the east of the Jordan River as cities of refuge for unintentional murderers. Mem Aleph. Okay, remember that the Jewish people are right now on the eastern side of the Jordan River, about to go into Israel proper. However, they did get some bonus lands on the western side because the 2 kings, Sichon and Og, attacked them. And they didn't ask for the fight, but they were given it, and then they won, and then they conquered those bonus lands on the eastern side. Mm-hmm. So Moshe doesn't get to go into Israel proper, but he gets to go kind of into this annexed, I don't know the word annexed, but like incorporated extra part of the land. Moshe, that's where they are. And Moshe is going to do the mitzvah, or at least part of the mitzvah, of separating 3 cities that are called Ir Miklat. Ari Miklat. Ari Miklat means that they're cities of refuge for someone who accidentally did manslaughter. They have to flee there for the rest of their lives. Okay. There's a total of 6 cities that were separated, but being that he doesn't get to go into Israel proper, he can only separate 3 cities on the eastern side, and the other 3 Joshua will end up doing. Mem Aleph, verse 41. Oz Yavdil Moshe Shalish Ardim Ever Yardin. Then Moshe concerned himself with separating 3 cities on the Jordan. On the eastern, on the side of the Jordan, Mizrach HaShamish, towards the rising sun. In other words, the eastern side. Rashi. Oz Yavdil. Then Moshe separated. What does it mean? What does Rashi comment on this? He separated. Nosan Levi Eschar Ladavar Shavdilim. Moshe applied himself to be concerned about separating them. Even though they would not afford refuge until those cities in the land of Canaan had been separated. So, as I said earlier, there's a total of 6 cities. They get activated as being safe, what do you call it? What's the modern term for that? Sanctuary cities. But no, they become absorption cities to protect people from vigilante next of kin. It only happens when all 6 are designated, and that won't happen for another 14 years, or so 7 to 14 years till Joshua conquers the land and then separates it. So why is Moshe bothering himself to designate the 3 cities, and in 7 to 14 years later, they'll become activated? Because this is a big lesson for us. Moshe said, mitzvah shev shlakaima akaimena. I have the chance to do a mitzvah, then I'll go fulfill it. Meaning I can start the mitzvah, I'm going to start it. You don't say, it won't be perfect, I have to wait for somebody else. I'm waiting for somebody else to finish it. I can do my part, I'm doing it right away. That's why he says he separated already.
Zeal.
He separated on the side of the Jordan towards the rising sun. On that side, it's another way. A lot of times they talk about east and west as the sun rising or setting. So it means the eastern side. Yeah. Oh, Mizrach means shining. The term for east in Hebrew, Mizrach, comes from the root word zarach, which means shining, because it's when the sun starts to shine. Mizrach HaShemesh, towards the rising sun. This is a grammar Rashi. Since Mizrach is the construct form, the resh is punctuated with a chataf, with a shva, Mizracha, meaning the rising of the sun, the place where the sun rises. Okay. It's a noun, the adjective to the noun. And now what's the purpose? As Pasuk Membeis, verse 42. Lanus shama rotzeach ashirtzach es re'eu b'vli das fuloi seni limit mil shel shem. This is the place to which a murderer who unwittingly kills his fellow man, whom he did not hate previously, meaning it is a real mistake.
Unintentional.
She's here. She's here. She's here.
These
She's
cities
here.
are not created for that purpose.
They're cities, but then they're designated that's where I don't think they were planned cities, planned communities for this. I think they're cities, and they say, but now they're going to be their big function. Anyways, finishing the pasuk, he shall flee to one of these cities and thus remain alive. Because the problem was, if someone killed someone by mistake, there's always a worry that some relative of the victim will want to get retribution. So these cities become, then no retribution can happen there. There's security or whatever. It's forbidden for any retribution to happen. It also serves as a fact, kind of as an expiation of the sin, because if you were someone who committed manslaughter, even if it's an accident, as it says, the guy had no bones with the guy to hurt him, it was an accident. Still, the fact that this happened through you is a tremendous stain on the person's soul, that you were a cause of death of somebody, and
Right.
you need some sort of atonement, which moving yourself to exile is a form of atonement.
So they're exiled from the high priest, right?
It's a separate thing. The high priest is the die for you to be let out, but it's a separate. That's a detail.
He has to go to that city.
He doesn't have to go. The high priest doesn't have to say.
But there's one high
Cohen
priest for the whole nation.
goes.
Why do you go there?
The Cohen goes then until he dies. He can be released.
The Kohen Gadol goes to the city.
Either the Cohen Gadol or the Cohen. The Cohen. Whoever the Cohen that's in charge of the person, is his Cohen. He's got to go too. And then when
That's a teacher. That's a
when he dies, he's released. I thought.
I don't think so. We'll have to double check. You know more than me, so it could be.
No. It's not
So there's always a chance you might be throwing me a curveball I don't know about. Mem Gimel. Es Betzer Bamidbar Beretz Hamish L'Ruveni. Betzer in the desert, in the flatland. What are these cities? One is called Betzer, in the flatland for the Ruveni. Ves Ramos Bagilad, Ramot in Gilad, Lagadi for the Gadi, the Gad's tribe. Ves Golan Babashon Lamanashi, and Golan in the Bashan for the Menashi, because these eastern bonus lands were populated by the 2.5 tribes of Reuven's children, God's children, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. So each of those, their areas have their own city. That's going to serve as a. Okay, Mem Daled. We say this every time we read the Leviticus Torah. This is the Torah that Moshe presented before the children of Israel. Rashi comments, Zu shu asil asad achar parsha zu. This is the Torah, meaning we're about to say a repeat of the 10 Commandments. So this is the Torah which Moshe presented before the children of Israel. Mem Hey. These are the same testimony, statutes, and laws Asher Dibra Moshe Bnei Yisrael that Moshe told the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. Mem Vav. Again, in the next tomorrow we'll repeat those 10 commandments. Now we're just getting a preview. What's to come? The what? Yeah, we say it every time we do Hagbah. We raise the Torah. We say Zos HaTorah Asher Moshe. Mem Hey. Ela Edus Asher Diber. Heim Asher B'Titzrayim. Chazer Shnol Lam B'Arvasim. What's it saying? These are the testimonies that Moshe had told, the very same ones that he told them when he left Egypt, in the 10 Commandments, plus whatever else he told them. He repeated them again a second, I think even a third time, when they're at the plains of Moab. So it's interesting that Moshe repeated the Torah twice, I think 3 times even. Okay, Mem Vav. Aver Yardin Bagaimo Besfar, he presented it to them now where they were, which was the opposite side of the Jordan, in the valley facing the house of Peor, Eretz Sichem el Chameri, in the land of Sichon, king of Amori, Asher Yeshu becheshbon, who lived in Cheshbon, Asher Hika Moshe b'nei Yisrael b'seis Mitzrayim, who Moshe the children of Israel smote when they came out of Egypt. Mem Zayin. They took possession of his land and the land of Og, king of Bashan. Shnei Malchei Amori, the 2 kings of the Amori. Asher Be'ever Yardin, they're on the side of the Jordan, Mizrach Shamash, which is towards the rising sun. He had possession of his land, the land of Og. As we said, this came from Og and the other guy, Sichon. That's Rashi, Mem Zayin. That's on the side of the Jordan, which is on the east. For the other side, was to the west. Because Ever Yarden means the side of the Jordan. It could be eastern or western. So it's constantly saying it's on the eastern side. Memches, which they conquered from Ar Orer Ashos Fasnach Arnon. From Ar Orer, which is the bank of the Arnon brook. Ve'ad Har Sion Hu Chermon. As far as Mount Sion, which is Chermon. Memtes. B'chol Harava V'Yadim Mizracha. For the entire plain of the eastern side of the Jordan. Ad Yam Harava, as far as the sea of the plain. Tachas Ashes Apiska, which is below the cascades of the heights.
Good.